Welcome to this week's What's for Dinner video. My name is Ashley. I'm going to be showing you 3 different meals I made this past week. I don't always follow recipes exactly, but if you're interested, I've linked some similar recipes down below. So the first dinner I'm going to be showing you, I made some Southwest steak quesadillas with some Mexican rice on the side. So I'm starting off with my Mexican rice because this does take the longest to cook. So I am just going to use 1 cup of white rice into some oil and toast that around. Now I'm going to add in my seasonings, which is 1 teaspoon of garlic salt and half a teaspoon of cumin. And then I add in half an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. So I'm going to be honest, I was not actually in the biggest cooking mood this week. There was just a lot going on, so these meals aren't as intricate as normal, but that sometimes happens. So next I'm going to add in 2 cups of water and 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon and 1 teaspoon of tomato bouillon. That kind of adds as the broth for the rice to cook in. So I'm going to bring that up to a rapid simmer, put the lid on it, turn the heat down, and then do not touch it or remove the lid for 20 whole minutes. So next I just kind of sliced up some petite sirloin. This is the meat that will go in the quesadillas. So I just put it in a pan with some oil, and now I'm going to season it nicely. I'm going to use some taco seasoning, garlic salt, and some cumin. You want to make sure the meat has a lot of flavor because that's kind of where this flavor for the quesadilla will come from. So I'm just going to toss this around till it's mostly all the way cooked through. Then I'm going to add in a little bit of black beans and corn and warm that up on the stove as well. So you just want to toss this around until the corn and black beans are nicely heated up throughout. Then I'm going to add just a little bit of lime juice. I think this just adds a little kick. So next I'm going to get ready to assemble the quesadilla. My husband loves cheese in his quesadillas, so I made sure to add a good amount for him. Just going to lay out some meat and the corn and black bean mixture to the quesadilla. Make sure it is nice and filled. Then I'm adding just a little bit of shredded cheddar on top as well. So I like to actually cook my quesadilla with just some spray oil. I just think that doesn't add as much calories as butter would. So I'm just going to let that brown on the one side. Once the cheese is nice and melted, I like to kind of push it down so it'll stay closed, and then I will flip it. This is how everything looked when it was done. I just made a little homemade guac and scooped it on top. I can never eat quesadillas without guac. Everything was very good. The next dinner I'm going to be showing you, I made some Pesto Chicken Pizza with some veggies on top. So I'm going to start off with my veggies. I'm going to get these cut up so I am ready to go. I'm just going to cut up part of a red onion into little slices. The best part about making your own pizza is you can put whatever you want and how much of whatever you want on yours. I do love onions and peppers on my pizza. So next I'm going to chop up part of a green bell pepper. I have to kind of disguise this because the husband does not like bell peppers. So instead of leaving them as strips like the onions, I'm just going to dice them up into a small chunk. That way it's kind of easier to spread throughout the pizza. And then I'm going to work on cutting the chicken. So I have 2 chicken breasts. I used about 1.5, and I'm just going to dice them up into some small bite-sized pieces as well. That way it's easy to top the pizza. Next, I'm just going to put them in a pan to start grilling up. I do season them in here. I'm using some Cajun seasoning, some garlic powder, onion powder. I didn't use any salt yet because the Cajun seasoning does have a good amount of salt, so I will test at the end if it needs salt. So I am going to cook the chicken until it is all the way cooked through and no longer pink. I am such a Cajun seasoning fan, I could genuinely put this on everything. So once the chicken was done, I just chopped it and let it rest till I was ready to assemble the pizza. So I'm using just an already made pizza crust from my local grocery store. I think next time I could also go to Trader Joe's and buy their dough for the pizza. I'm just going to spread some pesto on this pizza generously. And then I'm just going to add a little squeeze of some ranch on top, just for some creaminess and more flavor. So I'm going to start out with the cheese first. I'm going to layer just some Monterey Jack cheese and spread that out. We love cheese on our pizza, so I'm going to do a good amount of that and add just a sprinkle of some cheddar cheese for some dimension. Next, I'm just going to layer with my toppings. I am going to use a lot of toppings just because I made this all. I might as well use as much as I can. So I'm just going to layer some onions, some bell peppers, the chicken, and then some jalapenos on top. This is how everything looked when it was done. I think I baked this at 425 for about 10 to 15 minutes and everything was super good. So the last dinner I'm going to be showing you was definitely my easier meal of the week. I made some orange chicken, white rice, broccoli, and some pot stickers. So I'm just going to use a frozen bag of mandarin orange chicken. It's kind of like the Trader Joe's one, but it's just my local grocery store. And then I'm also going to throw some frozen broccoli in the oven so it can kind of unthaw so I can season it. At the same time, I do have 1 cup of white rice cooking. And I am also going to go ahead and steam some frozen pot stickers. So next I'm going to season my broccoli with some Tony's Creole seasoning. This stuff makes me sneeze every time, but let me know if it's the same for you. And then I also threw on some Italian seasoning. So this went back in the oven, and then at the same time I pulled out the chicken that was nice and crispy. I warmed up the 2 packets of sauce in this bowl, and now I'm just going to toss these together in the bowl. I'm a sucker for some orange chicken, so I could honestly eat this every day. This is how everything looked when it was done. Definitely just an easy, nice meal. I still loved it. Thank you so much for watching this week's What's for Dinner video. Make sure you come back next week for another one.